let's go with Ben and Morgan.
Okay.
Start with Ben and Morgan.
All right. So this is the episode, like you said, with the housewarming, and we see them talking to friends, not just at the housewarming, but before.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Ben working out with his friend James, and then Morgan is video chatting with her friend Carl, and both of them are just talking about, their situations, what's going on, whatever. Morgan's friend Carl missed the wedding, so they have a lot to catch up on. He wasn't there. And he's like, how's it been since the honeymoon? She says, it's been hard. The honeymoon wasn't great. And at the same time, Ben is talking to his friend about it. And he says, I've been getting to know her. She's a beautiful girl. She's got great, great answers, but what he didn't like is that when he goes for the personal questions, the in-depth questions, I asked her about, she felt like she was backstabbed. She felt like she was hurt because I asked her some things that, made her feel uncomfortable, whatever. And then I told somebody about it. And so she felt backstabbed. And so that's how the honeymoon went. She shares with Carl that, all of his red flags for me deal with finances and family and stuff like that. It's all very surface level things and never about my personality or who I am, my character.
That's not surface to me. That's
that's
not surface. That's important things in marriage. I mean, if you guys were dating, if this wasn't married at first sight and this was dating process, he probably wouldn't have been with you because, again, it doesn't fit his values, doesn't fit what he believes in, doesn't fit how he rocks. Now, am I telling people not to marry somebody who is dead? No. But y'all do have a plan on how to work it out, and you're not willing to have a plan with that person right now. So it's one of those things that she don't know. It's getting in depth. It is who you are. You are who you are. You have debt. You had debt. You are a nurse. You are this, and he may not like those things. And there's some things that she don't like about him. You don't like the trust factor about him, or that he talks too much. I don't get it.
Well, especially for me to say his red flag when it comes to family is surface level. No, ma'am.
No.
How you grew up, your family structure, what happened in your family, how you relate to your family is very in depth. Because that's going to let me know how I need to deal with you or how you're going to deal with me.
Yeah. Get to know the person's background.
And it does contribute to your character.
Mm-hmm.
And your personality.
And she's rough and rigid. And it's about her.
But she says she doesn't think he's seen her for the person she is. Okay. Meanwhile, Ben is talking to his friend, he's been trying to, move on from the instant they had on the honeymoon, but she just don't want to trust him, and then she don't trust him, but she told Pastor Cal, I want him to touch me more. And he like, you mad at me? You don't like me? I'll touch you for what? And that's confusing because that's not what she told me.
Right.
Basically, like, I don't like you, I don't trust you, don't touch me. And that's par for course. When you don't really care for nobody, when you upset with them, I promise you, she told him, leave me alone.
Yeah, she told him leave me alone, and she's confused, man.
Not feeling you.
She's confused, and she's confusing him.
Mm-hmm.
And bruh's like, should I go? It's like Michael from last season. Should I touch you? Should I touch you? What should I do? How should I do it? Can I do it? Can't do it? Because no man wants to be rejected all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So if he touches her, and I think we jump ahead, Mitch gave him some advice that he needed to treat her like he was in school, like he was in the schoolyard, and see how far he could go, but do it respectfully, which I thought was some great advice that Mitch gave him, because he needs to test the waters and see how far she's willing to let him go before she says no or pull back. And I'm not talking about towards sex. It's not about the sex thing, about the intimacy of it. What do she allow him to hug her and caress her and cuddle with her and do those type of things, which will help her trust him some more, because she'll feel secure in his arms or feel secure, whatever case may be. So that helps with trust.
Yeah. That's the exact same problem that Michael and Jasmine had.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't trust you. I'm trying to get to know you. But I also need the intimacy to, like, it's a catch-22.
It's catch-22,
yeah. She admitted to her friend Carl she's been closed off. Her walls are up. I don't trust them. You know, I came into this wanting to be in love and with somebody to see me for me. And honestly, I'm not happy right now. He's saying to his friend, you know, I know it takes a while to get to know somebody. And, you know, if they're your person, you know, you take that effort or whatever. And her friend Carl encourages her to put her walls down.
To let it go.
Just like, okay, here's the second time. Pastor Cal told her, who's in charge of the wall? I am. You can choose to let it down. Pastor Cal. Her friend Carl, you have to let your walls down. And she was like, when he's saying this, she's cringing.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know. At the end, you know, that's the best she could do. You know, they had a conversation about growth, her and Carl. And Carl was like, remember, we just talked about this. We had a conversation about growth and change. And it's painful and it's hard, but you have to do it. You gotta open up. Let that stuff go.
She can't. She have a hard time. It's difficult.
Right. She said, I know I need to, but it's hard. So I don't even know how you can find this out in vetting somebody for the married at first sight process unless you ask them, if somebody does you wrong, how do you handle it? And then would people be honest? I
mean, that's got to be one of the 576 questions on that questionnaire. How do you handle conflict or resolution? How do you handle conflict? How do you handle, you know, and that to me, mistrust is conflict. So whatever she answered, they must have, they accepted her answer because she might have lied on that too.
Married at first sight is not the thing to come into if you know you have walls up, first of all. You have a hard time taking them down, or you put walls up easily.
You have a hard, yeah, but you have a hard time in general. You have a hard time just letting things go. I think married for sight, when you're dating, you got to be able to let things go and be committed to the 8-week process, whether good or bad, right? Because she's missing out weeks. Again, same thing. I hate to keep going back to last season, but they're missing out on weeks. They're 2 weeks in, and they haven't had any kind of substance because she hasn't let this thing go from the honeymoon. I don't see this. This is a train wreck waiting to happen. It is getting ready to collide sooner or later.
So for the housewarming, they're having a tacos and tequila housewarming party. He went to pick up the tequila as they're preparing for the party. She was like, you got some good tequila and some cheap. You want, since you bought the cheap tequila, you going to taste that one. And I'm going to taste this one in preparation for the party. And so we see her friend Melissa come. Yeah. His friends Michael and Kyle come. And, you know, they chat with them. How's it been since the wedding and the honeymoon? And Ben hesitated to answering the question, like, and she was like, just say it, get it out. You know, go ahead. Yep. And he just says, you know, we've been working on some things. And under her breath, she talks to her friend Melissa, like, he's not saying it. I don't know why because that, again, you the wall putting up person. He's the, I don't want to put my whole business out there. And also, how do I say this without her getting mad at me again?
How do I say this? If you now you want, see, you want me to say it because you want me to say it. But if I say it when you're not here, I'm breaking your trust because we put keeping the relationship together, right? So because you're here, it's fine for me to go ahead and say it. But I don't want all my friends to know our business. We haven't even resolved this situation. We haven't even worked on this situation. And you want me to tell everybody. She did the same thing Alexis did and try to front their spouse, right? And I understand it. But Alexis is a little bit different because she was mad. Morgan's not as mad, but Ben couldn't say it. Ben had a hard time saying this is what the story is until they separated. Mm-hmm. And she met with, you know.
Yeah, her friend talks to him, and she talks to his friends, and her talking to his friends, you know, she's like, she said, she said her and Ben had the issue where he said basically, I don't like starting our relationship off with a lie, and you lied, you're not a nurse. And she said, but I am a nurse. And her thing was he broke the promise. We said we weren't going to talk about those heavy things, family and finances and stuff like that. And he did talk about it. Then he told somebody. And, you know, his friends was like, but I don't think he had bad intentions on bringing it up, first of all. Like, what else are we gonna talk about? I have to get to know you. And talking to somebody else about it. He didn't have bad intentions. He just didn't know what to do. That's how Ben is. He wanted to talk it over with some people.
And they wanted to get some clarity.
Yeah. And she says, okay, he didn't have good intentions, but your actions, though.
Yeah.
She feel like it's saying something else. No, it's not saying he had bad intentions. And so, as she continues to talk to his friends, he was like, how long you gonna hold this over him? Till he dies?
Till he dies. Yo.
How long you gonna hold it over him?
That's the thing. My thing is when I made a mistake because Ben said it when he was on. I apologize to everybody, the cameramen, the friends, the whoever. I apologize to everybody. How many more times do he have to keep apologizing? How many times you got to keep pushing it on him and keep bringing him over to? I think she's overbearing with this situation, right? Let it go. If you say that's my biggest thing. If you say you forgave me. And you forgive me, and we rocking, and we moving on. Let's rock and move on. Let's rock and move on. Hey, I know I made a mistake, but you ain't gotta keep bringing that bad boy up, right? It is not like, you ain't gotta keep bringing it up, and that's the biggest issue with her and him and her friend. Like, if his friend asked, if Ben walked through the door right now, and we asked Ben, "What are you?" What is he gonna say?
Are you a nurse?
Are you a nurse?
What would he say? And she said he would say yes, and they were like, okay then.
What's the problem? Your point was that you wasn't a nurse. You proved to him that you are a nurse. He understands you're a nurse. He understands he messed up. He understands that he didn't understand the process that you had to go through. And he realized that he made a mistake. God dog it. Let bruh go.
Mm-hmm. And I want to go back a little bit because I was going to say that anyway. When Ben was talking to her friend, he said that I've apologized to everybody on and off camera. Mm-hmm. I bring her flowers randomly.
Yeah.
I tried to make amends. I went to and bought her favorite chicken sausage from the grocery store that she liked to go to. And it's like she doesn't see the effort. And her friend Melissa was like, okay, it takes her longer to forgive. He was like, but I'm quick to forgive though. And, so right now, because she can't forgive, we stuck in that space. We can't go nowhere. And his friends, like you said, told her, hey, you got to forgive and forget.
Because it's the moment you can hold it too long. You can hold it too long where you're doing detriment to your relationship. And that's where she's at. She's holding it too long. It's not like, man, it's not like he cheated, right? Mm-hmm. I understand that. It's like he defiled your relationship, right? He didn't do that. He just questioned you in your legitimacy of your job. You clarified it. He understood. Why can't she move on? Because
she said before coming to this process, she said she was the type that if you burn me, if you hurt me, I'm done. That's it. So to learn to forgive and forget, to let the walls down, to get past it. She was like, that's new for her. She's never worked through a deep hurt like that. I've never done it.
That deep hurt, that to me is weird because people like that, that's why she's not married, first of all, because people have hurt her. Second of all, how do you keep a job? How do you keep a job? Because in the nursing profession, there's somebody who's going to talk about you. They're going to be a patient that you make a mistake on. There can be some things that happen. You and your charge nurse may get into it. Whatever the case may be, but you ain't leave your job. You ain't quit your job. You
just work with them.
But you ain't quit up and move.
Because you just work with them.
But again, I think if you have walls in this area, then the walls are in every aspect of your life.
No, I figure like this. She probably don't fraternize with them outside of the job. I just work with you. And she probably do have walls up when it comes. And so what I do is I don't like this charge nurse. So I come in, I do my job. I don't deal with that person. But yeah, when she says, I haven't worked through a deep hurt like this, but I'm like, first of all, it's not that deep. This is not that deep. We're 2 weeks in. It's not that deep. It's just not that deep.
Mm-mm. She's making it deeper than what it is. But anyway.
But yeah, and I'm just gonna add this right here because as we go forward, later on the girls and the guys get together, and her thing was one of the ones that I was like, if I hear about this one more again,
I'm tired of this nurse situation.
I'm tired of that whole conversation. I'm tired of you still talking about your walls being up. And you have 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people telling you the same thing. The same thing. And
break the walls down.
You're looking at them like,
break the walls down. Break the walls down. Break the walls down.
That irritated me on this episode. Her keep telling the same story, and Alexis.